Lu Sheng sat around the table inside the mysterious asteroid. Yang Yizhou, who had his eyes closed, took out the pieces to play. Lu Sheng's eyes began to shine with confusion and suspicion, as he didn't know how to play chess. Yang Yizhou began to show the pieces and with a kind smile said that it didn't matter if Lu Sheng didn't know how to play. He just had to try in order to learn how to play. He extended his hand toward Lu Sheng so he could take the pieces. Lu Sheng extended his hand and grabbed one of the black pieces. His attention was fixed on it and his eyes filled with confusion and fear. He didn't know what was happening. The space around him began to distort and everyone started to watch him in silence. Lu Sheng began to turn his head from side to side in confusion, not knowing what was happening. Lu Sheng's body began to emit a mysterious energy which started to mix with the air. His eyes began to shine with surprise. As he realized that the space had collapsed, it was more than a collapse, it was as if he had entered into a deeper world. With a serious gaze, Lu Sheng began to stare at the others in silence. Just then, whirlwinds made of fire began to appear in front of him, Lu Sheng's attention fixed on them. He could not believe that the chess pieces had turned into burning suns. Just then, a powerful phoenix made of fire appeared and began to roar. It began to look at our boy in silence. Not long after, the phoenix began to devour and a powerful burst of energy began to emerge from its body. Lu Sheng began to observe this and his eyes filled with seriousness. He realized that this beast was a divine beast, the three-legged Jinwu. Yang Yizhou began to show a joyful smile. When he turned toward our boy and could not help but feel somewhat surprised, he could not believe that Lu Sheng had been able to recognize his three-legged Jinwu beast. According to him, Lu Sheng had the merit to sit next to them. Upon hearing this, Lu Sheng's eyes filled with confusion. He began to stare at the Jinwu and with a curious gaze asked what kind of chess they were playing, while Wang Yi's eyes were shining with joy. With a smile he mentioned that this chess was called Dao chess. The solar domain full of Jinwu was his royal river, pointing directly to the level 15 Dao. Lu Sheng's eyes filled with surprise and fear. He was in shock to see that the Jinwu was level 15. He remembered that it was a level 11 beast. He did not know where that level 15 Dao came from. Wang Yi closed his eyes and started laughing out loud. According to him, one could not talk about ice with a summer insect. Lu Sheng began to imagine Wang Yi with his body releasing an intense energy. With a serious gaze, he revealed that his knowledge about the real river stopped at the moment when base 1359 had been destroyed 10,000 years in the future. But no one had said that his real river had already died after these 10,000 years of martial path. His eyes filled with confusion, since he understood that after receiving the level 12 inheritance from all of them, he had thought that all of them were pursuing the level 12 Dao. Lu Sheng began to imagine them floating in space. He knew that in reality, with the cultivation level they had not died along with the blue planet, but rather they had given way to a new world. With a confused gaze, he let out a sigh, since for him this was like when his high school classmates thought he was still in college. But the reality was that he was about to ascend to level 9. Just then, someone made their move and placed their piece on top of the chessboard. It was the piece began to shine intensely. With a smile, he revealed that this was his crystalline domain. Crystals appeared around his body. With a joyful gaze, he extended his hand and mentioned that he also wanted to ascend to level 15. But his domain was much more powerful than that supposed solar domain. Lu Sheng began to observe the crystals and his eyes filled with surprise and fear. With a furious expression, Wang He approached Duan Yefeng and asked how he dared to say that his crystalline domain was stronger than his solar domain. With a confident gaze, he revealed that his Dao had been praised by the Lord of the Tianlin domain, and it was incomparable in the whole universe. Duan Yefeng began to gaze toward the ground in silence, then, with a furious gaze, made it clear that he too had received admiration from the Lord of the Tianlin domain. In all the universe no one could surpass his Dao. With eyes shining with rage, Wang He asked if he wanted to compete, and mentioned that last time he had stolen the sweets he had hidden. With a furious expression, Duan Yefeng called him Wrinkle Face and said that he had sneaked in and drunk his tea. Their bodies began to release powerful energies which started to collide with each other. Both took their chess pieces, and with every breath, countless Jinwu and crystals shattered and died. Their power began to clash with each other. Lu Sheng, who was standing far away, began to observe this, realizing that this was a confrontation between level 15 Daos, a battle between mythical creatures and legendary beings. His eyes filled with fear, as the only thing he could do was stand there watching without being able to do anything. Yang Yizhou approached our boy, extended his hand and with a curious gaze asked if Lu Sheng was not going to try to do the same as them. Upon hearing this, Lu Sheng turned towards him and with a serious gaze said that he did not know how to do this. Lu Sheng closed his eyes and let out a sigh, even if he knew how to do it. He would not dare since his martial path, compared to theirs, was like that of a child playing at making clay figures. With a kind smile, Yang Yizhou mentioned that no one is born knowing. All the great masters had started as beginners. He asked our boy to try because he was sure that he was going to do well. Lu Sheng's eyes began to shine, and he started looking at his hands. He was confused since he didn't know how he should create his Dao and what the first step was. Lu Sheng clenched his fists and began to imagine a lake. His complete martial path Dao was capable of encompassing everything. But in reality it was a disordered mix, it had everything. But there was nothing representative. His eyes filled with disappointment since in general terms, he had nothing that could be shown and challenge others. Against an ordinary warrior his martial path was fine. But when facing these great warriors, he finally realized that he was a weakling. With a serious expression, Yang Yizhou called his attention and asked him not to belittle himself. He asked when Lu Sheng had first begun to delve into the martial path. With a confused gaze, Lu Sheng began to think without knowing what to say. He began to touch his chin and started to imagine himself sitting in the school gymnasium, and revealed that he had learned from his master the 24 forms of body training. At that moment, his eyes filled with surprise as he understood what he should do now. Lu Sheng couldn't help but smile as he realized that all creation began with imitation. If he didn't know what to do in the first step, and wasn't clear about what he wanted to do, then he could start by imitating what others did. With a gaze full of rage, Duan Yefeng and Wang Yi extended their hands and prepared to fight. They were fighting using all their power. The pieces fell like lightning and no one paid attention to what Lu Sheng was doing in a corner. With a joyful gaze, taking advantage that he was not looking, Lu Sheng took a small star from the edge of his stellar domain and began to examine it and study it carefully. Feeling this, with an angry expression, Wang Yi's attention focused on our boy. Seeing this, Lu Sheng hid the small fire star behind his back, and with a nervous expression began to whistle, saying that he had done nothing. Wang Yi did not pay much attention and continued attacking. Seeing this, a confident smile spread across Lu Sheng's face. He began to examine it and his eyes started to shine with excitement. He noticed how the stars were composed. He felt that his understanding and perception of the immortal star technique had increased countless times. Lu Sheng caught the star and crushed it. With a smile, he thought that if he returned now to reality, his immortal star body was going to experience a new transformation. But for now he could not worry about this since he had to keep moving forward. His hands began to tremble and his eyes filled with fear. He tried again and again in the void, without knowing how much time passed, until finally the small star finally became smaller and was born. Its light was so tiny that it did not even reach 1% of the smallest star in Wang Yi's solar domain. Lu Sheng's eyes began to shine with joy as this was his first creation, a true star. He couldn't help but smile since he couldn't believe he had achieved it. Yang Yizhou began to stroke his beard and couldn't help but smile, praising Lu Sheng for having created his first star. Lu Sheng began to sweat and with a grateful gaze thanked the old man for the advice. Just then, Lu Sheng's eyes filled with surprise and joy. He realized who this guy was. Upon hearing this, Yang Yizhou's eyes began to shine with malice, and with a smile he asked what Lu Sheng meant by that. With a curious gaze, he started looking at Lu Sheng and asked who did he think he was. With a nervous expression, Lu Sheng began to ponder, and while his eyes were shining with seriousness, he said that with just a few words, he had revealed the crucial point. He was powerful like an abyss but a deep calmness. He knew that this guy was the Lord of Tianlin Domain. Upon hearing this, Yang Yizhou closed his eyes and started showing a smile. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,